Happy Monday, everyone. So, a bit of a different one today. I don't know if you've got Netflix or been catching some stuff that's out there, but I don't know about you, but I am really loving what Jonah Hill has been putting out. So, I've seen You People, a lot of people have, which I thought was pretty funny in terms of negotiating some really complex, modern social issues, in a kind of entertaining way. But what I'm really loving is the latest thing that Jonah Hill's put out, which is called Stutz, which is really kind of like a documentary or a movie that Jonah did with his therapist, kind of about his therapist, but also about how his therapist, Dr Stutz, what he does, how he does it, with the aim to, try and socialise and make accessible a whole bunch of tools to help people live better. And I think I really like the intent behind the work because it seems quite clear that Jonah is very much an advocate for men's mental health in particular. He seems to have a genuine interest in helping people generally live better lives and get more out of life and be happier doing so. And as I said before, just getting some practical tools to help people, sort of get more out of their lives and be more of who they are in a constructive way. Jonah's therapist, Dr Stutz, goes through a number of tools, and without giving away too much of the spoilers, one of the opening ones, and one that I found was really useful and easy to understand, was this kind of model of activating your life force. As Dr Stutz sort of says that you can always work on this at any time. So even if you're feeling a bit lost or lazy, like you don't know what you should be doing, or you're not connected to your life purpose, or you don't necessarily have any great drive or ambitions, you can still work on this piece, right? And Stutz describes activating your life force as kind of like this. He just does this visualization, like draws it on kind of like note cards, right? But it's like this model. It's just a three-tiered pyramid, with the base level being your relationship with your physical body, the next layer being the second layer being your relationship with others, and the top tier being your relationship with yourself. And he sort of says that it starts kind of in that you work at the base and then you go up. And that kind of loosely kind of covers, I talk about holistic health, and there's kind of 6 pillars that I discuss in that, which is like your physical health, your mental health, emotional health, relational health, existential health, and environmental health. And he kind of sort of wraps this up in this nice kind of pyramid model, right? Now, what I really like as well is that Jonah kind of asks a really good question in this kind of opening couple of scenes, right? And he's sort of like, how much, because obviously if anyone's been watching what Jonah's done, he's lost a significant amount of weight, he's gone on a few podcasts, he's done a few things, and generally seems to be doing better, right? So Jonah actually asks us how much, working on that base level, which is your relationship with your physical body, goes to making you feel better, and to which Stutz kind of replies that focusing on this aspect is about 85% of what will make you feel better. And he says, but it's really important through your relationship with your physical body. You've got to do that through exercise and diet. There's so many insights and tools shared in the documentary. And I think what I really liked as well is that Jonah was sharing, obviously his personal struggles with his weight. And his wish that weight loss is stop being framed as something you need to do because of the way you look, and being framed as it being important to your overall health and well-being, like particularly from a mental perspective, as opposed to there being something wrong with you and you need to fix that, right? And obviously Jonah shares how he actually resisted instructions from the doctor and his mum to lose weight because he felt like the way that he looked was because of the way he looked, was wrong, or there was something wrong with him, and he was like, well, there's nothing wrong with me, so he kind of refused to do that. And then it was framed to him that he was like a bad person, which is a lot of places where people grow, like there's a lot of things that we do when we're growing up that we equate not pleasing others or being called out for our differences as equating to being a bad person, right? Which sits with us for a long time if we don't unpack that work and actually test that belief that we formed at such a young age. And then, then he goes in throughout the documentary to talk about, or they sort of touch on the fact that it's even deeper than that, And when we see that kind of messaging and we embed it and internalize it, it actually comes down to us feeling not worthy of being loved by others, right? And, I guess, so if you're finding yourself struggling with motivation to exercise and eat better, then my advice to you this week is to take the pressure off and maybe add this 90-minute Stutz documentary to your evening viewing. They break it up, they do some things which are cool from even just like a movie perspective, the way they've kind of broken it in and tried to bring the audience in. And it's one of those things that I think I'll probably revisit. It's like there's a lot of great content in there, and I don't think one viewing will do it justice. So really keen to see if anyone else has seen this documentary, if you've got an interest in seeing it, and I really want to understand what insights you had, and if it's impacted or influenced any of the actions that you're taking from now on in. So comment below, revisit this post during the week, and keep it posted.